1970, Patton. Patton is a 1970 American epic biographical war film about U.S. General George S. Patton during World War II. Directed by Franklin J. Schaffner, it stars George C. Scott as Patton and Carl Malden as General Omar Bradle. Schaffner from a script by Francis Ford Coppola and Edmund H. North, who based their screenplay on Patton. Ordeal and Triumph by Ladislas Farago and Bradley's memoir A Soldier's Story. Patton won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director for Franklin J. Schaffner and Best Original Screenplay, George C. Scott for Best Actor for his performance though he declined the award. The opening monologue, delivered by Scott as General Patton with an enormous American flag behind him, remains an iconic and often quoted image in film. 1971, The French Connection. The French Connection is a 1971 American neo-noir action thriller film directed by William Friedkin and starring Gene Hackman, Roy Scheider, and Fernando Rey. The screenplay by Ernest Tidyman is based on Robin Moore's 1969 book of the same name about narcotics detectives Eddie Egan and Sonny Grosso. It tells the story of their fictional counterparts, New York Police Department detectives Jimmy, Popeye Doyle and Buddy, Cloudy, Rousseau in pursuit of wealthy French heroin smuggler Alain Charnier, played by Ray. At the 44th Academy Awards, the film earned 8 nominations and won 5, for Best Picture, Best Director for William Friedkin, Best Actor for Gene Hackman, Best Film Editing, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Cinematography and Best Sound Mixing. Ernest Tidyman also received a Golden Globe Award nomination, a Writers Guild of America Award and an Edgar Award for his screenplay. A sequel, French Connection 2, followed in 1975 with Hackman and Ray reprising their roles. 1972, The Godfather. The Godfather is a 1972 American epic gangster film directed by Francis Ford Coppola, who co-wrote the screenplay with Mario Puzo. Based on Puzo's best-selling 1969 novel, The Godfather is regarded as one of the greatest and most influential films ever made, as well as a landmark of the gangster genre. It is the first installment in the Godfather trilogy, chronicling the Corleone family under Patriarch Vito Corleone, by Marlon Brando, and the transformation of his youngest son, Michael Corleone, by Al Pacino. From reluctant family outsider to ruthless mafia boss, Paramount Pictures obtained the rights to the novel for $80,000 before it gained popularity. It was the highest-grossing film of 1972 and was for a time the highest-grossing film ever made, earning between $250 and $291 million at the box office. At the 45th Academy Awards, the film won Best Picture, Best Actor for Marlon Brando and Best Adapted Screenplay for Mario Puzo and Coppola. In addition, the 7 other Oscar nominations included Al Pacino, James Caan and Robert Duvall, all for Best Supporting Actor, and Coppola for Best Director. 1973, The Sting. The Sting is a 1973 American caper film. The film was directed by George Roy Hill, who had directed Newman and Redford in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, 1969. Set in 1936, it involves a complicated plot by 2 professional grifters, Paul Newman and Robert Redford, to con a mob boss, Robert Shaw. The screenplay by David S. Ward was inspired by real-life cons perpetrated by brothers Fred and Charlie Gondorff and documented by David Maurer in his 1940 book The Big Con, The Story of the Confidence Man. Released on Christmas of 1973, The Sting was a critical and commercial success and hugely successful at the 46th Academy Awards, where it won 7 of its 10 Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, Best Director for George Roy Hill, Best Original Screenplay for David S. Ward, Best Art Direction, Best Costume Design, Best Film Editing and Best Scoring. Original Song Score and Adaptation. The film rekindled Newman's career after a series of big-screen flops. A sequel film, The Sting 2, also written by Ward, was released in 1983. 1974, The Godfather Part II. The Godfather Part II is a 1974 American epic crime film produced and directed by Francis Ford Coppola, loosely based on the 1969 novel The Godfather by Mario Puzo, who co-wrote the screenplay with Coppola. It is both a sequel and a prequel to the 1972 film The Godfather, presenting parallel dramas. One picks up the 1958 story of Michael Corleone, Al Pacino, the new dawn of the Corleone family, protecting the family business in the aftermath of an attempt on his life. The other covers the journey of his father, Vito Corleone, Robert De Niro, from his Sicilian childhood to the founding of his family enterprise in New York City. It grossed $48 million in the United States and Canada and up to $93 million worldwide on a $13 million budget. The film was nominated for 11 Academy Awards and became the first sequel to win Best Picture. Its 6 Oscar wins also included Best Director for Francis Ford Coppola. Best Supporting Actor for Robert De Niro and Best Adapted Screenplay for Coppola and Mario Puzo. Al Pacino won Best Actor at the BAFTAs and was nominated at the Oscars. The Godfather Part II is considered to be one of the greatest films of all time, as well as a rare example of a sequel that rivals its predecessor. Like its predecessor, Part II remains a highly influential film, especially in the gangster genre. The Godfather Part III, the final installment in the trilogy, was released 16 years later in 1990. 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is a 1975 American psychological comedy drama film directed by Milos Forman. This film, based on the novel by Ken Kesey, the film stars Jack Nicholson as a new patient at a mental institution and Louise Fletcher as the domineering head nurse. Originally announced in 1962 with Kirk Douglas starring, the film took 13 years to develop. Filming finally began in January 1975 and lasted 3 months. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest received critical acclaim and is considered by critics and audiences to be one of the greatest films ever made. It is the second of 3 films to win all 5 major Academy Awards: Best Picture, Best Director for Milos Forman, Best Actor for Jack Nicholson, Best Actress for Louise Fletcher and Best Screenplay. Following It Happened One Night, 1934. And preceding 1991's The Silence of the Lambs, it won numerous Golden Globe and BAFTA awards. 1976, Rocky. Rocky is a 1976 American independent sports drama film directed by John G. Avildsen and written by and starring Sylvester Stallone. It is the first installment in the Rocky franchise and also stars Talia Shire, Burt Young, Carl Weathers, and Burgess Meredith. Rocky entered development in March 1975. After Stallone wrote the screenplay in 3 days, it entered a complicated production process after Stallone refused to allow the film to be made without him in the lead role. United Artists eventually agreed to cast Stallone after he rejected a 6-figure deal for the film rights. With an estimated production budget of under $1 million, Rocky popularized the rags to riches and American dream themes of sports dramas which preceded the film. Rocky became the highest-grossing film of 1976, earning approximately $225 million worldwide. The film received critical acclaim for Stallone's writing as well as the film's performances, direction, musical score, cinematography and editing. Among other accolades, it received 10 Academy Award nominations and won 3, including Best Picture, Best Director for John G. Avildsen and Best Film Editing. It has been ranked by numerous publications as one of the greatest films of all time as well as one of the most iconic sports films ever. 1977, Annie Hall. Annie Hall is a 1977 American satirical romantic comedy drama film directed by Woody Allen from a screenplay written by Allen and Marshall Brickman. The film stars Allen as Alvy Singer, who tries to figure out the reasons for the failure of his relationship with the eponymous female lead, played by Diane Keaton in a role written specifically for her. The film received widespread critical acclaim, and was nominated for the Big Five Academy Awards, winning 4. The Academy Award for Best Picture, 2 for Allen, Best Director and with Brickman, Best Original Screenplay, and Best Actress for Keaton. The film additionally won 4 BAFTA awards including Best Film, Best Direction, for Allen, Best Screenplay, for both Allen and Brickman, and Best Actress in a Leading Role, for Diane Keaton. In addition to the Golden Globe Award for Best Actress, Motion Picture Comedy or Musical, for Diane Keaton, the film's box office receipts in the United States and Canada of $38,251,425 are 4th best of Allen's works when not adjusted for inflation, regarded among the greatest films ever made. It ranks 31st on AFI's list of the 100 greatest films in American cinema, 4th on their list of the greatest comedy films and 28th on Bravo's 100 Funniest Movies. 1978, The Deer Hunter. The Deer Hunter is a 1978 American epic war drama film co-written and directed by Michael Cimino about a trio of Slavic-American steelworkers whose lives are upended by fighting in the Vietnam War. The film is based in part on an unproduced screenplay called The Man Who Came to Play by Louis A. Garfinkel and Quinn K. Redeker about Las Vegas and Russian roulette. The film went over budget and over schedule, costing $15 million. The Deer Hunter received acclaim from critics and audiences with praise for Cimino's direction, the performances of its cast, its screenplay, realistic themes and tones and cinematography. It was also successful at the box office, grossing $49 million. At the 51st Academy Awards, it was nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 5 awards: Best Picture, Best Director, for Michael Cimino, Best Supporting Actor, for Christopher Walken, Best Sound and Best Film Editing. It is Meryl Streep's first Academy Award nomination, for Best Supporting Actress. 1979, Kramer vs. Kramer. Kramer vs. Kramer is a 1979 American legal drama film written and directed by Robert Benton. Based on Avery Corman's 1977 novel, it tells the story of a couple's divorce, its impact on their young son and the subsequent evolution of their relationship and views on parenting. Kramer vs. Kramer explores the psychology and fallout of divorce and touches on emerging and prevailing social issues such as gender roles, fathers' rights, work-life balance, and single parents. The film emerged as a major commercial success at the box office, grossing more than $173 million on an $8 million budget, becoming the highest-grossing film of 1979 in the United States and Canada. Kramer vs. Kramer received a leading 9 nominations at the 52nd Academy Awards, won a leading 5 awards: Best Picture, Best Director, for Robert Benton; Best Actor, for Dustin Hoffman; Best Supporting Actress, for Meryl Streep; and Best Adapted Screenplay. At the 37th Golden Globe Awards, the film received a leading 8 nominations and won a leading 4 awards, including Best Motion Picture, Drama, Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Drama, for Dustin Hoffman, and Best Supporting Actress, Motion Picture, for Meryl Streep. 1980, Ordinary People. Ordinary People is a 1980 American drama film directed by Robert Redford in his feature directorial debut. The screenplay by Alvin Sargent is based on the 1976 novel by Judith Guest. The film follows the disintegration of a wealthy family in Lake Forest, Illinois, following the accidental death of one of their 2 sons and the attempted suicide of the other. The film grossed $90 million on a $6.2 million budget, was chosen by the National Board of Review as one of the top 10 films of 1980 and garnered 6 nominations at the 53rd Academy Awards, winning 4 awards: Best Picture, Best Director for Robert Redford, Best Adapted Screenplay for Alvin Sargent, and Best Supporting Actor for Timothy Hutton, the youngest recipient at age 20. In addition, the film won 5 awards at the 38th Golden Globe Awards: Best Motion Picture, Drama, Best Director, Best Actress, for Mary Tyler Moore, Best Screenplay, and Best Supporting Actor, Timothy Hutton. 1981, Chariots of Fire. Chariots of Fire is a 1981 historical sports drama film directed by Hugh Hudson, written by Colin Welland. It is based on the true story of 2 British athletes in the 1924 Olympics: Eric Liddell, a devout Scottish Christian who runs for the glory of God, and Harold Abrahams, an English Jew who runs to overcome prejudice. Chariots of Fire was nominated for 7 Academy Awards and won 4 awards, including Best Picture, Best Original Screenplay for Colin Welland, Best Original Score for Vangelis's electronic theme tune, and Best Costume Design for Milena Canonero. At the 35th British Academy Film Awards, the film was nominated in 11 categories and won in 3, including Best Film. It is ranked 19th in the British Film Institute's list of top 100 British films. 1982, Gandhi. Gandhi is a 1982 epic biographical film based on the life of Mahatma Gandhi. Was directed and produced by Richard Attenborough from a screenplay written by John Briley. It stars Ben Kingsley in the title role, a major leader in the Indian independence movement against the British Empire during the 20th century. Its production values, costume design, and Kingsley's performance received worldwide critical acclaim. It became a commercial success, grossing $127.8 million on a $22 million budget. Gandhi received a leading 11 nominations at the 55th Academy Awards, winning 8 awards, including Best Picture, Best Director for Richard Attenborough, Best Actor for Ben Kingsley, Best Screenplay, written directly for the screen, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design for John Mallow and Banu Athaya, and Best Film Editing for John Bloom. The British Film Institute ranked it as the 34th greatest British film of the 20th century. The American Film Institute ranked the film 29th on its list of most inspiring movies. 1983, Terms of Endearment. Terms of Endearment is a 1983 American family tragicomedy film directed, written, and produced by James L. Brooks. Adapted from Larry McMurtry's 1975 novel of the same name, the film covers 30 years of the relationship between Aurora Greenway, by Shirley MacLaine, and her daughter Emma Greenway Horton, by Deborah Winger. The film received critical acclaim and was a major commercial success, grossing $165 million at the box office, becoming the second highest grossing film of 1983, after Return of the Jedi. At the 56th Academy Awards, the film received a leading 11 nominations and won a leading 5 awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Adapted Screenplay for James L. Brooks, Best Actress for Shirley MacLaine, Best Supporting Actor for Jack Nicholson. A sequel, The Evening Star, was released in 1996. 1984, Amadeus. Amadeus is a 1984 American period biographical drama film directed by Milos Forman. Peter Shaffer adapted it from his 1979 stage play Amadeus, originally inspired by Alexander Pushkin's 1830 play Mozart and Salieri. Shaffer described it as a fantasia on a real-life theme, as it imagines a rivalry between two 18th-century Vienna composers Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, by Tom Hulce, and Antonio Salieri, by Murray Abraham. Salieri struggles to reconcile his professional admiration and jealous hatred for Mozart and resolves to ruin Mozart's career as his vengeance against God. It was nominated for 53 awards and received 40, including 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Milos Forman, Best Actor for F. Murray Abraham. In addition, received 4 BAFTA Awards, 4 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Motion Picture, Drama and Best Director, and a Directors Guild of America Award for Outstanding Directing, Feature Film. 1985, Out of Africa. Out of Africa is a 1985 American epic romantic drama film directed and produced by Sidney Pollack and starring Meryl Streep and Robert Redford. The film is based loosely on the 1937 autobiographical book Out of Africa written by Isak Dinesen, the pseudonym of Danish author Karen Blixen. With additional material from Dinesen's 1960 book Shadows on the Grass and other sources, the book was adapted into a screenplay by Kurt Lütke, and this screenplay was filmed in 1984. The film received generally positive reviews from critics. It was also a commercial success and won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director for Sidney Pollack, Best Adapted Screenplay for Kurt Lütke, Best Art Direction, Best Cinematography, Best Original Score and Best Sound. 1986, Platoon. Platoon is a 1986 American war film written and directed by Oliver Stone. It is the first film of a trilogy of Vietnam War films directed by Oliver Stone, followed by Born on the 4th of July, 1989, and Heaven and Earth, 1993. The film, based on Stone's experience from the war, follows a new U.S. Army volunteer, Charlie Sheen, serving in Vietnam, while his platoon sergeant and his squad leader, Tom Berenger and Willem Dafoe, argue over the morality in the platoon and of the war itself. Upon its release, Platoon received critical acclaim for Stone's directing and screenplay, the cinematography, battle sequences, realism, and the performances of Sheen, Dafoe, and Berenger. The film was a box office success upon its release, grossing $138.5 million domestically against its $6 million budget, becoming the third highest grossing domestic film of 1986. The film was nominated for 8 Academy Awards at the 59th Academy Awards and won 4 awards: Best Picture, Best Director for Oliver Stone, Best Sound, and Best Film Editing. 1987, The Last Emperor. The Last Emperor is a 1987 epic biographical drama film directed by Bernardo Bertolucci. It was adapted from Puyi's 1964 autobiography about the life of Puyi, the last emperor of China. It stars John Lone in the eponymous role. The film depicts Puyi's life from his ascent to the throne as an infant to his imprisonment and political rehabilitation by the Chinese Communist Party. At the 60th Academy Awards, it won all 9 Oscars it was nominated for, including Best Picture, Best Director for Bernardo Bertolucci, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It also won several other accolades, including 3 BAFTA Awards, 4 Golden Globe Awards, 9 David D. Donatello Awards, and a Grammy Award for its musical score. The film was converted into 3D and shown in the Cannes Classics section at the 2013 Cannes Film Festival. 1988, Rain Man. Rain Man is a 1988 American road comedy drama film directed by Barry Levinson and written by Barry Morrow and Ronald Bass. It tells the story of abrasive and selfish wheeler dealer Charlie Babbitt, Tom Cruise, who discovers that his estranged father has died and bequeathed his multi-million-dollar estate to his other son, Raymond, Dustin Hoffman, an autistic savant whose existence Charlie was unaware of. Barry Morrow created the character of Raymond after meeting real-life savant Kim Peek. His characterization was based on both Peek and Bill Sackter, a good friend of Morrow who was the subject of Bill, an earlier film that Morrow wrote. Rain Man competed at the 39th Berlin International Film Festival, where it won the highest prize, the Golden Bear. The film grossed $354 million on a $25 million budget, becoming the highest-grossing film of 1988, and received a leading 8 nominations at the 61st Academy Awards, winning 4 awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, for Dustin Hoffman, and Best Original Screenplay. As of 2024, Rain Man is the only film to win both the Berlin International Film Festival's highest award and the Academy Award for Best Picture in the same year. 1989, Driving Miss Daisy. Driving Miss Daisy is a 1989 American comedy-drama film directed by Bruce Beresford and written by Alfred Uhry. Based on his 1987 play, the story defines Daisy and her point of view through a network of relationships and emotions by focusing on her home life, synagogue, friends, family, fears and concerns over a 25-year period. Driving Miss Daisy was a critical and commercial success upon its release and at the 62nd Academy Awards received 9 nominations and won 4 awards. Best Picture, Best Actress for Jessica Tandy, Best Adapted Screenplay for Alfred Uhry and Best Makeup. As of 2025, it is the most recent PG-rated film to have won Best Picture.